What's up, guys? Back at it with more Choujin X. As always, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out and means a ton, but we got to get into it because we got chapter 20 today, and it was amazing. Ricardo is definitely my number one so far, especially after this chapter. That was, I don't want to say beautiful because it was kind of the exact opposite. It was dreadful, very dreadful, but kind of beautiful. Either way, starting off, we have wonderful Ricardo running down the stairs trying to get to Yume because last time he felt the tingle and understood that, yeah, somebody made her very mad. So yeah, he's just running down the steps trying to get his jacket on as he goes. He gets down there and he's just greeted with an absolute bloody mess. And his only reaction is, not again. Okay, fine. We're gonna have to clean this up all night. That's great. So yeah, that's his wonderful reaction to all of this. We cut over to Tokio, who's trying to make his great escape, but he's trying to scale down the outside of a building, and he is still quite a few stories up. Loses his grasp, starts to fall, starts like, wings, fly, fly, grow wings, something, fly. Crashes onto the ground because he's not able to grow wings yet. A little bit of foreshadowing maybe for later in the chapter. But yeah, he crashes on his head. Should have killed him. Okay, that should have snapped his neck, crushed his skull. His eye popped out. Real quick, forgot to mention, what I mean by that should have killed him is, if Tokio was a normal human being with a normal body, that would have assuredly killed him. You'll kind of understand why I'm saying this here in a little bit, but yeah, just wanted to make sure and make that clarification before people go down like, dude, he's a Choujin. Why, that is not supposed to kill Choujin. They're tougher than that. Okay. His eye popped out and flew across the floor, the ground, the air, everything, because he fell on his head so hard. Okay. Tokio then gets up and he's just like, wow, being a Choujin is amazing. This might also be a little bit of foreshadowing and maybe the very last thread of hope for anybody hoping that Azuma is still alive. I know that might sound crazy when we get to look at Azuma later in the chapter, or when you look at the final panel of last chapter, but think about it. Snapping your neck, crushing your head so hard that your eye flies out of its socket is definitely gonna kill a person. Dead is dead. That would kill you just the same as being, well, we'll just say it, cut in half, missing an arm, obviously bleeding out. That does not even cover the extent of Azuma's injuries, I'm sure, but still, dead would be dead. Now, to be fair, Azuma was not in Choujin form, Tokio was in Choujin form. So, like I said, very last thread of hope. It is a thread. Very easy to cut, very easy to break, not very stable at all. So Tokio gets up and he's like, I could just go home now, but he catches a peculiar scent in the air. The smell of iron. Obviously, we all know this is coming from Azuma's very large quantities of blood all over the place right now. Probably reeks. Either way, this is enough to make Tokio push forward and see where the scent is coming from. While this is going on, we cut back to Yume and Ricardo notices that Yume doesn't have a mask on and says that she typically has a short temper or an attitude when she does not have one. He unfortunately only has a white one, but that seems to be good enough. I guess she just likes to match the black with the black. Fair enough. But while they're being very nonchalant about all of this, Tokio eventually makes it over there, peeks out, and is able to see Azuma. Immediately goes into denial mode, but that does not last very long. He eventually accepts what he has seen, and he snaps. Now, there was also a panel of a hand up in the air, and Tokio on the panel. Was this Azuma's other arm? Is he still... I don't think he is dead yet. I think he is in the process of dying. I get it, it looks serious, but being bifurcated and losing an arm does not immediately kill you. Probably knock you out, put you into shock and all kinds of other stuff, and you die pretty quickly, but it's not like an immediate thing. So maybe, either way, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, a more important panel for Tokio is a pair of cuffs. But if you look closely, one of the chains is broken. Tokio is, in some sense of the word, freed. Not really in a good way. But he lets out a gut-wrenching scream. Yume tells Ricardo that the beast is loose, but before Ricardo can even turn around and respond to this, Tokio is already slamming Yume through 2 walls, transformed back into Choujin form, flinged him up into the air, grabbing onto both of her arms, looking absolutely amazing. Tokio looks sick, okay? And Tokio's just screaming, why, as he's in an absolute rage, I guess popping blades or something out of his wrist, punching at Yume. She says he's lost in a state of confusion, and he'll probably go into a chaos state. Tokio then proceeds to literally shove his foot through her abdomen. This is not a killing blow for somebody like Yume. She's able to use paper trip and she is okay. But Tokio, with the fly, wings grow, fly, wings, earlier in the chapter, blocks her paper trip with armored wings. Yes. Please tell me Tokio can just straight up fly now. I am about it. That is awesome. And they're armored too? Yeah. But Yume calls out to Ricardo because she is not good against armored opponents. This is when we finally get to see what Ricardo can do. And he is not an octopus Choujin. He is not a tentacle Choujin. He is a dread Choujin, taking the form of whatever you dread most. Turns into this just disgusting morphed version of Azuma, where you have his head just bloodied and bloated, the bottom half of his body just tacked on in so many different areas. A picture of Azuma that would be used at a funeral. Sickly disgusting. And the worst thing you could possibly show Tokio right now. He even says, Ricardo, that some people just croak from the sheer shock of seeing this form. Absolutely insane. Did not see that coming. This dude is just straight up Cthulhu monster incarnate, okay? Love it. Awesome. Okay, so this just completely knocks Tokio out. This is too much for his brain to handle. I can kind of understand why. So Tokio gets knocked out from the sheer shock of this. Ricardo starts to turn back, saying, I'm sorry. It would have been a problem if you couldn't change back. Probably due to something that the wheelchair mask dude wants to do. Probably some complications there if he's just stuck in Choujin form, especially raging chaos state Choujin form. Probably make things a little bit more difficult. And depending on the very specific variables and details of exactly what they want to do, maybe make their goal impossible. Who knows? I don't know. Either way, yeah, at this point, Ricardo tries to apologize to Yume, saying, sorry, my bad. She says, we almost lost our payout. But at this point, Ricardo's butt catches on fire. Yes, we're doing the whole my butt joke again. I'm perfectly fine with it. Yeah, Ellie shows up, and she is going to defend Tokio against the two of them, I guess until Kagemura and Momoma arrive. I would only assume. At least that's her goal. So yeah, she is standing in front of Ricardo and Yume right now with Tokio on the ground right behind her. Scary situation to be in, but she says, sorry Kagemura, sorry Tokio. Here we are, end of chapter, and we actually end the chapter off with the title page instead of putting it at the beginning, and it is chapter 20, Moon Beast. Absolutely beautiful panel. This was all crazy, wild, awesome. I love it. The stuff with Azuma. It really looks like he is going to die. But like I said, there is a very slim, tiny thread of hope. Because why would you have Tokio specifically say, wow, being a Choujin is amazing? Talking about the fact that he didn't die from crushing his head from a fall from so high up that it launched his eyeball out of its socket. The fact that he didn't die from that is pretty amazing, but Tokio's just by himself. He's not talking to anybody. And we as the readers already know being a Choujin makes you much, much more durable. Like, damage is not the same to a Choujin as it is to a human. We already know that. So there really is no reason to have Tokio say that. Unless it, like the whole wings, is a little bit of foreshadowing. But not for this chapter like the wings, but maybe next chapter, or maybe even the chapter after. It's a small, slim possibility that he does survive, but it's not looking good for our boy. With that being said, I really do hope Azuma survives. Like, there was so much more good we could do with Azuma throughout the story. This doesn't really feel like much of a payoff for anything. Yeah, it's an emotional moment for Tokio. It's a big thing for Tokio. But unless you're specifically empathizing with Tokio's feelings, are we really getting much out of it besides disappointment that we don't get a lot of good moments from this character, because there's a lot of good that, like I said, could have been done with him? It kind of just feels like a waste. Like, I'm not sad that Ozma died. I'm kind of just disappointed. I don't know. I think more good can be done with Ozma than without Ozma. And if we are going to go down this route of Ozma dying, I think it should have been held off a little bit more. I think we should have gotten a little bit more time with Ozma as the readers to actually get a little more impact from this. To me, right now, this is not an impactful death for really anybody besides Tokio specifically. And I don't know. Either way, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. I still love the chapter. I still love this series so far. Even if Ozma does die, I don't think it's bad writing. It's just not my preference. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And more importantly, go down in the comments. I love talking to you guys. But with that being said, I gotta get out of here, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.